Well, good morning, kids. How is everybody doing? I hope you're doing fine. I'm using my Bluetooth headphones again, so hopefully I don't sound like I'm in some sort of tin can tunnel or anything like that. But welcome to another episode of The Abyss. I am, of course, your host, The Eternal Abyss. What's up? Um, I want to say hello to everybody in all the various platforms that I'm on. Of course, I want to say hello to everybody on Bitwave. I want to say hello to everybody on um, Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, Float, and D Live. So hello and welcome. Let me make sure I have my multi-chat thing up here because I want to make sure that I see, whoops, what everybody is saying on all the various. Shoot, what is this thing doing? Okay, sorry, the my restreamer was just going absolutely bananas for a moment. So we got kind of a big show to do because unfortunately the past couple days, like I said, Thursday I wasn't going to be able to get on here because I was on the road. Wednesday, it turned out like the day ended up being really crazy, so I didn't end up being able to get on. Um, well, we'll talk about that, DoomTube. Say hi to each of you on Bitwave to make you feel love. I'll do what I can. I want to say hello to DoomTube. I want to say hello to Herb. Well, is the H silent? Actually, let me ask you that. I've always wondered if it's Herb Bud Green or Herb Bud Green. Because I always called you Herb, I think, right? You're pretty sure you're older than me? I don't know, man. I'm a boomer. Hey, Steve Dave, welcome to the stream. Um, I'm well. I'm not. I don't. I'm not quite a boomer. Because I'm not of the boomer generation, but I'm close. I'm thinking. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot of there's that whole thing with Texas. We'll talk about that. We'll definitely talk about that. So, herb. Okay, so herb bud green. I'll try and keep that in mind for the next time I refer to you, because I want to make sure I do that right. Herb bud green. Herb. Yep. That works. That works for me. I made some notes because I didn't want to forget this time. So, of course, the the big news that happened a couple days ago was that Rush Limbaugh has passed away. I'm just, yeah, herb, herb works. You got it. No problem. My coffee is very hot still. Is that herb's pronouns? Herb, him, him, and herb. Yeah, that's it. I quit. I'm gone now. Um, no, but the big news is that, Rush has passed away, and he finally succumbed to his battle with cancer. And I'm just gonna be honest, I wasn't. Your pronouns are stoner and pot. Those seem oddly appropriate. Yeah. Um, it was actually funny when I was getting ready for the stream and the power cut out, and I'm not even close to Texas, so I don't even know what was going on. But everything came back, so we're streaming now. We're online. Everything is rolling. Hopefully, everything will stay stable. So if I suddenly drop out, that may be the reason. I just want to make you guys aware of that. But going back to what we were talking about, yeah. So Rush passed away. One thing that, I just want to be straight up with everybody is like I was not a regular listener of Rush. I'm not a fan and I'm not a not fan in that sense. So I don't have any particular opinion on Rush, like because I'm lagging. I may be lagging. I don't know how good my internet connection is. Let's see. No, my stream seems pretty stable. I don't think it's on my end. But basically, he was a pioneer. He was a broadcasting pioneer, whether you agree with him or not. And, people should recognize that he made an enormous contribution to radio broadcasting. Now, on the conservative side, he also made a huge contribution to pushing forth the conservative movement and conservative values and points, and also making it entertaining. I mean, the guy was an entertainer. He obviously um, was entertaining and obviously made his audience. He made his message appealing and made his message, easily consumable by his audience. So you got to give the guy credit. You got to give the guy credit. But what do you have instead on social media? You just have awful vitriol, celebrations and insulting and things like that. And you know, anyone who's listened to my stream knows that I am not above speaking ill of the dead. Listen, if someone's an asshole, they're an asshole. I don't care if they're alive or dead. If that's who they were, that's who they were. Case in point, John McCain, for example. And Anthony Bourdain as well. I'm not above calling out who's an asshole, even beyond the dead. And I know it's not really uh, couth, I guess, to do that. I guess it's a social faux pas. Um, you may have a good point there. Herb is saying that he never liked much. He liked Rush much. Always thought of him to be a shill for the mainstream Republicans, but he proved me wrong in the end. He seems to have been very unpopular amongst the establishment Republicans, though he might have become more principled when he found out he was dying. That's a good point. Like I said, because I wasn't a regular listener. No, no, no. You didn't. You didn't. I got what you're trying to say. Um, like I said, because I wasn't a regular listener, he did. He took the unpopular position of being loyal to Trump. Excuse me one second. As usual, I'm dealing with my sinuses. That's not a surprise. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I wasn't a regular listener of his, so I don't know how his stance was, how it changed over time. Oh, I'm sure Rush was a huge contributor to that for the Monica Clinton scandal. I mean, he was heavily steeped in all the politics. Yeah, well, the thing with that, the impeachment over Monica, is the fact that he perjured himself. I don't know what the evidence is for the illegal bombings that Clinton did, because I know that I think he did shoot, like send out missiles somewhere, and I don't know if he had the authorization to do that. Um, but that's a long time ago now. Like the details are fuzzy to me at this point. I'd have to revisit that and look at the information. But yeah, but I mean, for those that were big fans, I mean, I don't know really who can fill in the shoes of someone like Rush at this point, because even if I didn't listen to him regularly, that was the thing. Everybody knew him. Everybody knew him. Right, left, center, Republican, Democrat, Independent. Everybody knew Rush Limbaugh. He was a monumental figure in the conservative radio broadcasting circuits. So I don't know. Compared to Whitewater, no, it really, in terms of level of scandals, it wasn't that huge a scandal. It was disgusting behavior, I believe, for someone to do that kind of stuff in the Oval Office. It was, to me, pathetic that someone like Bill Clinton would get away with it because he got away with perjury. He got away with breaking the law. It wasn't even, who cares what he did then with her. She wanted to be a humidor for him for his cigars. Let her be a humidor for his cigars. That doesn't matter to me at the end of the day. But you don't do it on the taxpayer dime. Take it to a seedy hotel. You don't need to do it on my dime. Mm. Oh, coffee is still hot, but not so hot that I can't drink it. That's good. Well, unfortunately, that may be a reality now. Every president, Herb is saying that every president that differs from the controlling party of the House will be impeached from now on. Um, the Democrats have definitely set that precedent. They definitely set that precedent. And if Republicans had any shred of balls and spine, they would actually do that. I would. You open up that floodgate. So I would do that now. Didn't that Rep. Marjorie, whatever her name is, file impeachment for Biden already? I just don't think anything's going to come of it, obviously, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, that whole thing, that's the problem when you have people in power that abuse every system that they have their fingers on and their hands on. They cheapen. I'm not sure what her reasons are. Yes, a state senator in Texas filed and submitted a secession bill too. I actually am more interested in that. I would love to see what Texas does with that. I mean, not that I want the union to break up. There were a lot of blood spilled and a lot of sacrifices made to keep the union together. I mean, our Pledge of Allegiance says, State of the Union. Not State of the Union, I'm sorry. Our Pledge of Allegiance says, one, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and one nation under God, indivisible. Marjorie Taylor Greene launched an effort to impeach Biden for alleged actions during his tenure as vice president related to the Biden-Ukraine conspiracy. Well, it's not conspiracy; it's true. He's there's an arrest. I think there's an arrest warrant for him in the Ukraine, isn't there? I thought there was an arrest warrant for him in the Ukraine. He's like a felon in the Ukraine. And I promise you, the dude is not going to set foot in the Ukraine during his dictatorship. Hold up, let me adjust myself here. I wasn't really seated comfortably. Oh, but anyways, turn my fan on here because my computer's getting a little hot. Um, so yeah, I mean, the thing that I find disgusting though is like, listen, like I said, I'm not above speaking ill of the dead, as I've mentioned. Ooh, the Texas secession bill. Nice. I'm gonna look at that later. Um, However, I don't celebrate people's death though. That to me, that's disgusting. I don't believe that if you celebrate people's death, if you're happy when someone dies, I find that very troubling, to say the least. Like when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, I, there was nothing for me to celebrate. I wasn't happy that she died. I didn't go online and go ding dong, the witch is dead and celebrated and did all that. No, I didn't. Of course not, because I'm human. I have a bit of empathy, you know. I respect the dignity of people, and I respect that, it's a human life. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's sad when people die. They have loved ones, whether I agree with them or not. And, as such, you have to be at least respectful for that. Now, can you say that they were horrible people while they were alive? Sure. I mean, I think Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a horrible justice. She was basically one of the people responsible for giving corporations all the political power they have now. And she herself actually regretted her decision on that. So I actually have to give her credit for that, for her at least realizing that what she had decided on was incorrect for that specific case. I can't remember the name of the case off the top of my head right now. Oh, hey, you updated the image for Rush Limbaugh. There you go. Hey, we have Rush Limbaugh in our chat. Beyond the grave. I like the little halo. That's a nice touch. He's back, baby. That's right. Oh boy. In other news, moving on. Um, so Nikki Haley, we talked about her before. Yeah, and I agree with that, Herb. Nixon says hi. I'll say hi back to him. Um, yeah, she should have retired a long time ago. I don't know if I mean, politically it would have served Obama way better for her to retire under Obama. But I think she should have retired even before that, just because of the decisions that she was making and her age. She was already pretty decrepit by the Obama administration. Um, so I don't know. I just don't think that she was a good justice. She was a terrible justice in my opinion. Made very, very bad decisions. I have the same opinion of John Roberts. John Roberts, I think, is a horrible, horrible justice. He makes very politically motivated decisions. He's really not a good justice of the Supreme Court. Simple. I don't think that she would have been hated by conservatives if she would have retired under Trump. She would have just been hated by the left. I mean, and that's the problem right there, actually, but what you're saying actually touches upon something that is a very important point when it comes to Supreme Court justices, that their decisions are politically motivated, and they should not be politically motivated. They really shouldn't. And to me, that's a big shame. True, conservatives already hated her, but if she would have retired and given conservatives a spot, like her passing away did, that would have ingratiated her a little bit. That would have ingratiated her because she would have put politics aside, and I feel that that would have ingratiated her a little bit. So that's the way I see it. This channel is now black owned. No, I'm afraid not, sir. Um, but Nikki Haley, I was starting to talk about Nikki Haley. So Nikki Haley, I've already spoken a bit about her before in streams, and everybody probably knows by now that I'm not the biggest fan of her. I do have black coffee, that's true, but I have sugar in my coffee. Um, so like I mentioned, I'm not the biggest fan of Nikki Haley, and she went on this whole media spree saying, "Oh, people should be distancing themselves from Trump, and he's gonna, he should face consequences for his actions, and blah blah blah." And she said all this bullshit, throwing Trump under the bus and things like that. So then, what does she do? She tries to have a meeting with Trump. I can't even say this with a straight face. She tries to have a meeting with Trump, and he goes, "No." Did she really think that Trump was going to go, yeah, come on in? I mean, I understand maybe why she thought that because Trump welcomed McCarthy after, the Republicans and McCarthy stabbed him in the back. So, I mean, maybe she thought that he was going to continue that stupidity and welcome her as well, but he told her to go fuck herself, basically, and that I have to. Here's a sip of coffee to Trump on that one. He deserves it. Mm. Oh yes, because that was that was beautiful. Not gonna lie. But yeah, I remember everybody was talking about when she became part of the Trump administration and she was a UN ambassador and all that. And everybody's like, oh, the next president, she's going to be the first female president or whatever. Like, she's going to be the female conservative president, etc., blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know why you people are saying that she's an idiot. I have not read any statement on McConnell. No. Do you have a link to that? Like, I'll read it live on stream here if you want. I did not. Um, I, but going back to Nikki, it's like she mishandled the whole thing with the Confederate flags. I've mentioned this before. I'm repeating myself at this point, but I just want to reiterate that because that whole thing with the Confederate flags, with the shooting, was the most idiotic thing she could ever do. She vilified people that had nothing to do with the shooting. She vilified American history. Whether there is a bad or good association with it in the past, and there is some bad, I'm not saying there isn't, but basically dredging up long ancient history, vilified people, as I mentioned, and on top of that, created this political brouhaha around the flag, which was completely unnecessary. So I would say that, she did handle herself relatively well in terms of what she was saying as a UN ambassador, but that was all she was doing. She was able to talk the talk, but there was nothing really concrete or substantive. All right, let's see this statement by Trump regarding leader regarding McConnell, that traitor. McConnell voted to acquit Trump in Trump's impeachment trial on Saturday. Trump allegedly incited the U.S. Capitol. Newsweek, please. This is Trump's statement on McConnell below. The Republican Party can never again be respected as strong with political leaders like Senator Mitch McConnell at its helm. McConnell's dedication to business as usual, status quo policies, together with his lack of political insight, wisdom, skill, and personality, nice, has rapidly driven him from majority leader to minority leader. It would only get worse. The Democrats and Chuck Schumer play McConnell like a fiddle. They've never had it so good, and they want to keep it that way. We know our America First agenda is a winner, not McConnell's Beltway First agenda or Biden's America Last. In 2020, I received the most votes of any sitting president in history, almost 75 million. Every incumbent House Republican won for the first time in decades, and we flipped 15 seats, almost costing Nancy Pelosi her job. Republicans won majorities in at least 59 of the 98 partisan legislative chambers, and the Democrats failed to flip a single legislative chamber from red to blue. And in Mitch's state, over the last two election cycles, I single-handedly saved at least 12 Senate seats, more than 8 in the 2020 cycle alone. And then came the Georgia disaster, where we should have won both U.S. seats, Senate seats, but McConnell matched the Democrat offer of $2,000 stimulus check with $600. How does that work? It became the Democrats' principal advertisement, and a big winner for them. It was. McConnell then put himself, one of the most unpopular politicians in the United States, into the advertisements. Many Republicans in Georgia voted Democrat or just didn't vote because their anguish in their inept governor, Brian Kemp, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, and the Republican Party for not doing its job on election integrity during the 2020 presidential race. It was a complete election disaster in Georgia and certain other swing states. McConnell did nothing and will never do what needs to be done in order to secure a fair and just electoral system in the future. He doesn't have what it takes, never did, and never will. My only regret is that McConnell begged for my strong support and endorsement before the great people of Kentucky in the 2020 election, and I gave it to him. He went from 1 point down to 20 points up and won. How quickly he forgets. Without my endorsement, McConnell would have lost, and lost badly. Now his numbers are lower than ever before. He is destroying the Republican side of the Senate and in so doing, seriously hurting the country. Likewise, McConnell has no credibility on China because of his family's substantial Chinese business holdings. He does nothing on this tremendous economic and military threat. Mitch is a dour, sullen, and unsmiling political hack. And if Republican senators are going to stay with him, they will not win again. He will never do what needs to be done, or what is right for our country. Where necessary and appropriate, he will back primary rivals who espouse making America great again and our policy of America first. We want brilliant, strong, thoughtful, and compassionate leadership. Prior to the pandemic, we produced the greatest economy and job numbers in the history of our country. And likewise, our economy recovered after COVID was the best in the world. We cut taxes and regulations, we built our military, took care of our vets, became energy independent, built the wall, and stopped the massive inflow of illegals into our country, and so much more. But now illegals are pouring in, pipelines are being stopped, taxes will be going up, and we will no longer be energy independent. This is a big moment for our country. We cannot let it pass by, using third-rate leaders to dictate our future. Am I not turtly enough for your turtle club? It does sound a lot like Trump in terms of what he says, but I agree with a lot of it actually. McConnell, and it has turned out to be a snake. I thought that McConnell had a little bit more intelligence to him, and I was wrong. The guy obviously uh, is a rhino mainstream Republican, and all he cares about is making his money and making, making the political elite deals that he does, and he doesn't really care about America, doesn't care about the citizens because the policies that he espouses and the policies that he's pushing forth obviously don't help Americans. He's not doing anything really to help them. So he's an abject disaster as a leader. He has no gumption as a leader. I've been severely disappointed with all these, establishment Republicans that have done nothing but enrich themselves and tell the American people to go fuck themselves, basically. I mean, at this point, there's really no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans anymore, as they're all in it for themselves. Simple. I mean, just look at what Biden is doing. That's another major topic that I wanted to talk about today is like all the fails that so far has been happening in terms of domestic and foreign in the Biden dictatorship that we have here. So let's talk about Texas first of all. So Texas is under this huge, massive freeze. Everything is going crazy, and there is such widespread failures that, I am very skeptical and I'm very suspicious about how there could be so much, so much. How can there be such a widespread systemic failure that every single way of providing power has failed? I mean, I can understand that when it comes to some things. Okay, so maybe they didn't winterize certain things. But how does a nuclear power plant fail? How can gas not get transferred in a cold pipe? Like I don't understand that kind of stuff. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It seems to me like I saw that you guys were talking about that earlier, that lots of windmills froze, some gas and coal generators froze, and even the nuke plant wasn't functioning right. Yeah, it's insane what was going on though over there. It could have been it could have been just a perfect storm situation, but because of what I've seen, and call me a conspiracy theorist, I suppose, but because of what I've seen with what's gone down during this pandemic, where people, governors and mayors and governments in general were willing to have people die for their own political reasons, I don't know if I necessarily believe that everything just happened to be coincidental, that it just coincidentally had such a massive systemic failure. So I don't know. I'm not going to accuse one side or another side or individuals here because I would rather see an investigation happen to see exactly where all these failures came from. Because this is the thing. Okay, so this is something that Texas has experienced every so often. This isn't something new. Every so often, Texas gets a little bit of a taste of what winter feels like in other parts of the United States. It's a rare, it's not a super rare occasion, but it's not something that happens often, obviously. But you think that if they experienced it like every 4 years or every 5 years or something like that, they'd be like, well, okay, let's get some stuff in place just in case we get this again. So I think that an investigation is warranted. I think that it's worth watching and seeing what exactly went down, what the heck happened there, and see exactly what the hell's going on. That's really what it is. Um, so I don't know. And then, you have Biden, which, instead of helping people, what does? Oh, he calls a lid because there was 1 inch of snow in DC. They call the lid, and he doesn't even send FEMA over, doesn't send any National Guards over, but he has National Guard around his little dictatorial fortress. Yeah, he definitely has that. He still hasn't sent FEMA over. He hasn't sent shit over. Can you imagine the backlash if Trump was president and he hadn't sent anybody over by now? This is ridiculous. And yet the media doesn't say anything about it. No outrage from CNN. No outrage from Rachel Maddow at MSNBC. No outrage at all. But oh no, it's fine. It's fine because it's Biden. People are freezing and he's playing Mario Kart. I mean, you got to be fucking kidding me. Hey, Illustrator, I see they're on D-Lag. He's the leader of the sort of people who would follow. You're talking about McConnell? Yeah, I guess so. I guess that's one way to think about it. But yeah, um, so I don't know. I mean, the double standard. The double standard in the media is just appalling. It's just appalling. And then instead of sending money to like Americans that are suffering right now because we're not getting any sort of stimulus check or anything like that, he gives money to the Wuhan lab in China. He's compensating the people who created this virus, allegedly. But the people who are suffering because of that lab, no, no, that's fine. They don't need the money. Let's give it to China up till like what was it, 2024 or something like that? So my taxpayer money is going to those assholes. And then people wonder why I don't want to pay taxes anymore. I don't want my taxes going to this shit. Why, why, why don't I have a say? Somebody's pulling Biden's strings. You know what? Maybe so, but no. He is fully responsible for himself. Okay? I'm tired of hearing this sort of justification. People were saying the same kind of bullshit about Obama. No, no, he's responsible for his actions. Biden is responsible for his actions as president. I don't care what strings are being pulled. He's the one signing the fucking pieces of paper. And as long as he's not declared mentally incompetent, he's responsible for every single fucking thing that he does. So no, I don't I'm not gonna go along with that sort of line of thinking. And he's a piece of shit for giving money to the Chinese lab. Simple. It doesn't matter if he didn't get there on his own. He's there now. They pulled a fraud in our election to get this dumbass dictator pedophile into the office. So now we're stuck with this asshole, and he's responsible. That's what it boils down to. You mean on screen? Let me see. That's weird. I'm not using the same. I'm using two different chats actually for that. Let me try and fix that for you, Herb. Hold on. Let me find where is Bitwave chat in my overlays. I cannot find it. What the heck? Oh, here we go. Oh, wait, wrong one. Stand by. I'm trying not to boomer up the stream here, which invariably it's definitely a possibility. Actually, you know what? Let me update this because, like I said, I'm not using the correct chat anyways. I need to, I've wanted to fix that for quite a while. Um, let's move this over. That's weird. I didn't block any of you guys. I don't know what's going on with that. Let me just update this. So I see your, okay. Try it now, guys. See if that works. I'm on the same platform as the amazing booger eater himself. Who? Are you talking about Nick Fuentes? Is that who you're talking about? I guess that's some consolation, I suppose, Illustrator. Um, I don't know. I mean, you guys should be able to, like, I haven't really, I don't really ban or block people or mute people, so I don't know exactly what's going on with that. Let me take a quick look here. There you go. Now I see you guys. He streams here. He's on Bitwave? Really? Since when? Oh, huh. Wait, what's with Bitwave going to Odyssey? What's Odyssey? Gosh, there's so many freaking streaming platforms now. He streamed once and dispatched disabled chat. Why did dispatch disable chat? Best platform, obviously. I don't know what Odyssey is about. I've never been on this. Is this just like a video thing? Video uploading? Yeah, it's a social media. Huh, interesting. Yeah, that's actually that reminded me, seeing what's on Odyssey reminded me of another news item that was very interesting that happened. Um, yeah, it's just video uploading, it seems, but that was another thing that happened with Australia and Facebook. Oh, I'm on Library. I was on that, so now that's Odyssey. I should be on there then, shouldn't I? Hold up, let me go back. Wait a second. I should be able to find myself here then, shouldn't I? Yeah, I'm on there. Ha! Wait, why do I have a six at the end of my name? I shouldn't have a six at the end of my name. Yeah, I have it set up that when I stream on YouTube, it automatically uploads the stuff over to library, which I guess now is this. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. I don't, but the thing is this, if I stream for so much, there's a certain period of time. This hasn't been uploading stuff though. The last time was 24 days ago. Something's wrong. I got to check my YouTube settings. Something's wrong with this if it's not doing it anymore. Maybe I disabled it actually. I don't know. I was thinking about removing myself from that platform anyways because I didn't really see much of a point in it. I commented on Texas already. I'm highly suspicious of such widespread systemic failures. Yeah, I was having chat problems. That big wall of text. What's going on here? Let's see. You had no power at all. All my heat and cooking appliances are electric. I was out for 7 hours, then back for like three, then out for 46 hours, then back for 3 hours, then out for 12 hours, and went out a few more times. Water pipe busted, and the whole time the temp was between like 8 and 25. Finally got shit fixed yesterday afternoon. No, you're wrong. This hasn't happened in my lifetime. This wasn't such just a little snow. It might dip down some cold water for like a night. Well, I mean, I lived in Texas for 3 years at one point. So I know that this is not normal for Texas. No, no, I read it, Herb. You don't need to paste it again. Um, all I can say is that even in the 3 years that I was there, yeah, but I mean, I've been in and out of Texas too. In the periods that I've been there, I have seen some short periods of cold. It's not. I disagree. Texas has experienced cold. Has it experienced cold like this and sustained? No, but cold spells are not such an unusual rarity. It's not like a freaking unicorn in Texas. It happens every so often. This is a much larger scale, yes. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying is like for a day or two, yes. I'm not wrong on this when you just agreed with me. I'm not saying I'm not saying that what is happening now, exactly now, has happened other times. I am saying that Texas does experience, well, whatever, that still makes me right, even if it's every once in 100 years. The point is that it does happen every so often in Texas that you do get some colder temperatures. I remember when I was there, it snowed, it got cold, and it was relatively sustained for several, like I remember there was a week that I was there. It was a week, it was pretty cold. Nothing like this, obviously, but it was pretty damn cold for Texas. So my only thing is, if Texas knows that every so often, if Texas knows that every so often they can get some of these minor cold spells that aren't, listen, Texas knows that it is a possibility that it gets some colder weather every so often. I was there and I witnessed it firsthand. So if I was the governor, I don't care what it is. Yes, I understand that, and I don't care what it is because the point is, if you can see that you get like maybe you go into the teens, all right? Let's pretend, which I'm just giving an example. If I'm there and I experience temperature weather in Texas, that is an indication that there is a possibility that Texas gets a little bit of cold stuff coming. Now, can someone predict something of this caliber? No. But does that mean that maybe they should make sure that their shit is winterized? Yes. I've lived in a lot of places too, Herb, okay? Why do you have to argue with me on this one? We're not really disagreeing here. All I'm saying is that this spell is particularly unusual, yes. But has Texas never experienced any sort of cold? Of course they have. See, look at that. Minus 10 degrees in 1989. They experienced 10 degrees and minus 10 degrees in 1989. Minus 7 degrees in 1989. I don't know if it was for one night. I don't know how long that lasted, and I don't think you were there in 1989 to say so. So in 1989, well, whatever. In 1989, they still experienced this. They still experienced it, though. So you're wrong. They experienced a cold like this. Maybe it wasn't sustained, but they experienced the same level of cold. Well, they should have still been prepared. I'm sorry. They should have still been prepared. It's bullshit that they weren't prepared. In 1985, they experienced was it 7 degrees in Dallas, for example? Minus 7 in 1985 in Abilene. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any motivation behind it, Doom. Herb, it has happened. The link right up there that Superior provided shows you that it has happened before. I'm just looking at data here, man. I get that, but if you already know that you can experience that temperature, maybe you should make preparations for it for in the case it's sustained. Weather is unpredictable. That's really what it boils down to. You can be prepared by having good infrastructure. Absolutely, yeah. See, the only reason why I have my suspicions, it has happened, asshole. Jeez. Herb hates data and science. Sad. It just hasn't been sustained, but they've experienced temperatures of this caliber. This isn't unheard of, Herb, okay? Then I am not arguing a different point. All I am saying is that Texas has experienced this kind of temperature. Sustained or not, is that not true? Okay, if they have experienced this temperature before, then it's not new. It is something they are aware of. This data and history show of the temperature show that they have experienced this before. You would think that if they experience shit like this, they would go, just in case things go really bad, maybe we should prepare. I'm not talking about sustained, I'm talking about the temperature alone. Because sustained or not is not what the relevant point is. The relevant point is that they have experienced a temperature of this kind before. And if someone is forward looking and wants to ensure that the infrastructure can deal with anything, it's like if you're building a bridge. If you're building a bridge, do you not want to make sure that the bridge can stay upright and let vehicles pass no matter what the condition is? As an engineer, if engineers are involved in this, their first duty is to ensure that you try and account for all use cases. Same with that's why there's failures that happen like with the Challenger, space shuttle. There were flaws in the design, and the engineers knew about it. They didn't fix it. There are flaws in the grid. There's flaws in the winterization process. There's flaws in how they set up their infrastructure. Well, I don't know if that's the case, Troll. Well, listen, they failed anyways, regardless of the situation. Okay, so it's irrelevant. They had the possibilities to ensure that these things were situated for occasions of this kind. Short, long, medium, it doesn't matter. But again, the only reason why I'm suspicious, and call me a conspiracy theorist, okay? Maybe I'm wrong, and I hope I am wrong, actually, on this one. Hey, Neomorph. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome to the stream. How you doing, man? Um, the only reason why I'm suspicious, well, I don't know, and if New York City doesn't have preparations for earthquakes, because they rarely do get some, they should. They weren't prepared for Sandy Hook, for example. Not Sandy Hook, what I'm saying, Hurricane Sandy. They weren't prepared for that when they got hit by it, and Jersey wasn't prepared either. And that was dumb because they're on the coast. Hurricanes can rarely hit them. They should have been prepared for that. No, yeah, it's gone for now because America is dead. But the point that I'm making is this, the reason why I'm suspicious about this whole thing is because for a long time, even during the Obama administration, in the past, easily 15 years, I don't know what the hurricane preparations are for South Dakota, but if there's a risk of a hurricane hitting, they should prepare. They should have some sort of infrastructure set up. Just a minimal infrastructure, something minimal. I mean, like for example, when I was in Texas, we had a small brushing of snow on the street. I was like, you don't have a little bit of street salt just in case this happens? Put some aside. Don't you have like one truck just to brush the snow off the street? Do that. I'm not talking about being prepared. I'm not saying Texas should have been prepared like Ohio or Michigan or Wisconsin. Okay? I'm not saying that. But there could be some minimal. Well, it's not being arrogant when I experienced it myself, Herb. It's simple. I've experienced it. I know what it was like. I've been in states like Texas. I've been in states where there's a lot of snow. I've been overseas. I've been in sunny states. I've been in snowy states. Several years, 3, 4 years I was in Texas. I don't know if there were any under 20 degrees, below 20. I do remember there was a cold spell that we experienced, and it was under 20. It may have been a couple days or up to a week, but it wasn't freezing temperatures. Like the pipes didn't freeze and there was it didn't get that bad. But for there was one solid week. You know, I had a fireplace where I lived, and I had the fireplace roaring in my house in freaking Texas. No, I don't think Texas own plows. They don't even have salt for icing on the sidewalk or anything. But that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's unreasonable that a city would have maybe just one plow. You can everybody has pickups there. You can't have a couple pickup the plows to just add on to pickups. Yeah, sanding trucks. Yeah, exactly. I remember that. Like everybody and their grandmother has a pickup truck in Texas. And nobody can just have a couple plows set, like the city can't put a couple plows set aside for even just volunteers. I mean, come on. You don't even need to have the giant trucks like they have in the Mid East. Tractor, they don't have to be all MacGyver. Yeah. Well, listen, I feel for Texas. I like Texas. I live there. I think it's a beautiful state. When was the last time I got plowed? I don't know. Depends on your definition of plowed, I guess. Why would you buy a plow for something that never happened? Because I saw snow in Texas once. Okay, I've seen rare occasions of snow in areas where snow is not supposed to be there. So because there are rare occasions that something like that can happen, a minimum level of preparation. Like I said, I'm not saying that Texas should have gone full tilt like Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. They don't need to have a fleet of plows. They don't need to have silos filled with rock salt or the salt for the ice. No, and I'm not saying they should build a seawall either, but if they have any history, if there's any history in South Dakota where there may be some flooding, maybe you get you make a minimum preparation in case the rare occasion happens that a flooding occurs. Well, they should have bobcats that can move dirt for sure, yeah. Construction material, construction vehicles, everybody has construction vehicles. But the point that I'm making is this, the point that I'm making is this, is I think that Um, but what I'm trying to get to is this, okay? This is unusual. I don't expect Texas to be fully prepared for anything like this. I don't expect any state to be fully prepared for something like this. All Everyone should keep their cars running, and then all the snow will melt away. No, but what I'm saying is I understand that it's the when you have unusual weather issues, it's not easy to prepare for that kind of stuff. This sort of statewide systemic failure, though, to me, is very unusual. And I'm, like I said, I'm highly suspicious of the reasonings of why these failures occurred. I don't discount just plain stupidity. I don't discount just incompetence. But when you have for decades upon decades, like in the past 14 to 20 years, you have people saying that they want to flip the state from red to blue. And now you have governors in states like New York and Michigan and California that are putting sick people in senior homes to basically murder them for their political motivations. One can't help but wonder if there are other nefarious motivations behind why these things weren't prepped properly. Like I said, I don't have any evidence to say that that's the case. I don't know. And it's very much conspiratorial, and I admit it's conspiratorial. And like I said, I could be wrong. I very well am wrong on that one. I probably am absolutely wrong on that one. But because of what I've seen and what I've witnessed, I can't help but think some of that. And it's sad. And it's sad that we're in a current state of affairs when it comes to politics that my mind even goes there. But unfortunately, that's where we are politically. Pros and taquitos. Yeah, I suppose so. That's a possibility. But yeah, no, but going back to what I was talking about with Biden failing Texas, failing on China, failing in Iran. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about, Herb. Exactly. It is retarded that the coal and gas and nuclear generators froze too. I mean, that it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. So, no, Biden failed Texas because he's not sending any help. I'm not saying Biden had anything to do with the failures. I'm saying he's failing Texas now. He's not sending any help to them. He's not sending FEMA. He's not sending National Guard. I haven't heard of anything. I haven't heard any official announcement of that. Maybe I just didn't see it. Have you heard anything about that? Because I honestly have not heard anything about FEMA being sent out. I haven't heard anything about any sort of National Guard being sent out. I haven't heard anything about that. He was playing Mario Kart. That's what he was fucking doing. No, you guys definitely got help from Trump when there was the hurricane. There was a bad hurricane. Well, regardless, I mean, his administration did nothing. His administration did absolutely nothing. And when Texas was hit by the hurricane, within like an incredibly short period of time, Trump sent FEMA, sent National Guard, sent all this assistance over. Oh fuck AOC, she's such a fucking stupid cunt. Yeah, I said it. Stupidest woman on this planet. Yeah, there's food shortages. That's what I'm saying. So, but anyways, there are other topics that I wanted to talk about. So, um, General Honore, I don't know how to pronounce that. Honore. General Honore was appointed by Pelosi. Ew, waiting outside in the cold? Yikes, that sucks. Um, but yeah, Pelosi is she said she was going to do this independent counsel to investigate like a 9/11 style investigation into the January 6th uh, riots, basically the violence that happened, violence, the just the bullshit that happened on January 6th. So uh, she appointed this general Honore or whatever it's however it's pronounced. Okay, I'll take a minute to walk outside and bask in the sun to flex on Texas. Oh, you're just mean. That's just mean. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that too. We're gonna talk about that too. And we're gonna talk about Facebook in Australia. And then we're gonna wrap it up because I gotta get lunch going. I got a point. I got stuff I gotta do. So this Honore guy, there's social media posts that have now floated up that shows that he clearly is partisan. He's told Trump to fuck off and things like that. So he clearly is very partisan. He clearly does not like Trump. So there's no way I feel that this guy could do an investigation that is unbiased, that is fair, and that is impartial. And this is what Pelosi, first of all, besides appointing a completely partisan asshole to do an investigation, uh, the fact the fact that she's using our taxpayer money to continue to persecute Trump is so dumb. I am so fed up of this cunt Pelosi using taxpayer money for this reason. It is really, really bothering me that she is wasting so much time on this, wasting taxpayer money on this. On top of that, the House put forth a bill to try and prevent Trump from being buried um, um, at the whatever it's called. Oh, I was tweeting about this and the name is escaping me now. Hold on. Let me find that. Arlington. That's what it was called. Jeez, my brain is just fried right now. So the House Democrats have introduced a bill to ban, quote, twice impeached president from burial at Arlington National Cemetery. So my taxpayer money, my taxpayer money is being used for such petty fucking bullshit. They don't want his rotting corpse in their ground. Can you believe this bullshit? Can you absolutely believe this? I am shocked. I am shocked. I I honestly just don't want my taxpayer money to go to the United States anymore. I am seriously considering renouncing my citizenship over this shit. I've said this before, and I really intend, if this sort of shit keeps going, I will do it. I don't want my money going to this garbage. It's amazing to me. It's amazing to me how stupid politics has become and how stupid our government has become. That's really ironic considering Arlington was founded to stick it to the Confederates. Who says I don't have citizenship somewhere else? I do. But anyways, the point is, um, this is dumb. This is really, really, really dumb. And I'm sick and tired of this bullshit. I'm in desperate need of a good plowing. Maybe. I don't know. Well, there's nothing to reveal. I never told you where my other citizenship is from. Oh yeah, well, I mean this is what's basically happening. You're getting what's happening in today is the political equivalent of what happened with the cadaver synod. Do you guys know what the cadaver synod was? This is a bit of Vatican history here. I've talked about this on stream before one time, I believe, because there's this pope who un, un, unearthed his predecessor, basically. He exhumed his predecessor, dressed him up in papal garb, put him on a throne in the basilica, had a guy stand behind the throne to speak for the corpse, and put him on trial for all his activities that he did during during his papacy when the guy was alive. Then he found him guilty, cut off three fingers, the thumb, index, and middle, and then threw him in the river, and threw the body in the river. And the people who loved that previous pope and were supporters of him went and fished out the body and gave him a proper burial. All right, take it easy, Superior, and say his name. Um, why is there all this BLM stuff in my stream now? I have no idea what's going on. But yeah, that's the cadaver sign out. That happened like I think within the first 1,000 years of the Catholic Church. I gotta look at the dates. I don't remember the dates exactly. So that was good times, fun times, and that happened. I am a The Pope is there. It's not like he's a hologram or anything. I think that he's a garbage Pope. I think he's a terrible Pope. But I am not a sede vacantis, if that's what you mean. I don't believe that we don't have a Pope right now. Yeah, those people, those are called sedevacantes. These are people who believe that Vatican II, anything post Vatican II is invalid. They're called traditionalists. And these people that are traditionalists they're generally called the Lefebvrians, or they are part of the Pius X Society, SSPX, basically. So these people that are radical traditionalists are actually heretical. That guy, he's that Omegle guy, right? He's on Omegle trying to, quote, convert people to Catholicism. That guy is not Catholic. No, the infallibility of the Pope is not, the Pope is not infallible in everything. The infallibility of the Pope only applies to when he's making official statements of dogma. So he is making a statement, an official statement as Pope. Like for example, back in the day, you had a Pope who, after like one of these, um, oh, the terminology is escaping me. At least these congregations, these big meetings, like Vatican II. they debated a point of dogma like on the status of the Virgin Mary, for example. So then the Pope would come out and say, yes, the Virgin Mary is indeed, the mother of God and blah blah blah, something like that. They would make an official dogmatic statement that had to do with the theology and teachings of the church. A pope just answering a question to a reporter, that's not infallible. He can say whatever he wants to a reporter or in an interview or express his own personal opinion on something, and he can be wrong about that. But it's matters of dogma is where the infallibility applies, and it has to be an official statement. So that guy who says that there hasn't been a pope since the 60s, he's a heretic. He's a sedevacantis. He's probably a Lefebvrean traditionalist, which is not real Catholics, and he's not very intelligent. Papal, official dogmatic papal statements. Yes, it has to be an official statement from the papal office, basically from the Pope. It's not just a random opinion or statement that the Pope would make. Those are generally viewed as infallible because it has to do with the magisterium of the Church, which is, if for those that don't know what the magisterium of the Catholic Church is, the magisterium of the Catholic Church, uh, the magisterium of the Catholic Church is basically the onus that has been given to the church as the protectors and the holders of the teachings of God and of Christ, basically. So, because the church is the only institution that God gave the magisterium to. I don't know what the Pope has to say about the current situation in Texas. I haven't heard that anybody asked him. I think in the past I may have spoken a little bit with Leo Pirate. It wouldn't be the first time. Like I haven't. It's not the first time. Excuse me, that I've heard his name. But I haven't really done a lot of discussions with him. But that guy who does the Omegle stuff, yeah, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He doesn't know anything about Catholicism. He is some radical traditionalist who is espousing heretical teachings, which are basically antithetical to Catholic teaching. So he is way off base. And if anybody wants to learn anything about Catholicism, he should be the last person you go to because he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And honestly, it irks me to see people like him claiming to be Catholic and misinforming people and giving real Catholics a bad name. But to kind of wrap this stuff up, here, because I got to get off here. I just want to talk about two quick things. About Australia and Facebook. They have an ongoing feud right now. Yeah, I'm always happy to have theological discussions with people, and it doesn't have to be about all Catholicism because I've tried to do some research into other denominations and other religions and things like that. So I'm not saying but I'm not an expert in theology by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not a theologian. I don't have a degree in theology or anything like that. It's all personal research that I've done because I just wanted to learn more about Catholicism, but also I want to learn about all world religions as well. So I spent a lot of time for my own personal enrichment to study and learn about this stuff. So some information nowadays, because this was a while ago, my information now for certain things may be a little fuzzy, but I enjoyed debate, especially religious kind of discussions. I always find those very fascinating. Um, just in, Bitcoin surpassed $1 trillion market cap for the first time. insane. But Australia and Facebook have been going at it. You know, they've had this big feud. So Australia, Mormons are no, I don't think so. I don't think Mormons would go to heaven, because what they teach is basically antithetical to Christianity at the end of the day, really. Mormonism is a weird variation of Christianity. It's really goofy. So I don't know. Ultimately, I don't know who goes to heaven. I really don't. I mean, if you look at the Catholic Church, for example, Saint Augustine, one of the doctors of the church, Saint Augustine himself said that not all, even not all Catholics are going to get saved. There's a lot of Catholics that are not going to be saved. They're not going to go to heaven. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that even within Catholicism, it's not there's no guarantees here, man. That's the thing. Yep. Has proposed a law, and they're passing a law that Facebook has to pay for all the news articles that they are posted, and Facebook blocked all their government services and news. So there's this ongoing dispute going on right now, and you know, and the government's response to me was actually pretty funny because they said we're not going to be intimidated by Facebook. Basically, they told Facebook to go fuck itself, so which is beautiful. So I want to see where this goes, and um, Poland is going to, they plan on charging Twitter a fee, basically. They're going to fine them every time they engage in censorship. So I think that that's hilarious. And it's unfortunate that government has to step in to do this because social media platforms don't have the wherewithal to be intelligent about how they run their platforms. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think that this is gonna push people towards things like that, towards federalized system, decentralized system. Sure, yeah, it's definitely a possibility. Um, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was about Ted Cruz really briefly about traveling to Cancun. I understand that people don't like the optics of that, and I understand that maybe it wasn't the best optics, but at the same time, it's like, listen, he planned this trip. He had the possibility of get his kids and family out of that mess in Texas. Texas is already getting itself back on its feet. It sucked. It has sucked very much so. Don't get me wrong. Um, but at the end of the day, the guy, he's a senator in D.C. isn't really going to be able to do a whole lot on the ground. On Mastodon, the government or news agency would have to go after individual users to get paid. Pretty hard to do if people use a VPN. Yeah, you're right, Herb. It would make things very difficult. But I don't think Facebook should go. I don't think Facebook would go to a decentralized system. Um, so I don't think that's in their cards at least at this time. It doesn't make any sense for them to do that. But anyways, well, he did return pretty quick though. I mean, to Cruz's credit, he did return back pretty quick from his trip. He dropped them off then and came back. He did make his changes. The only thing is that the thing to me the thing to me is that he shouldn't have apologized. That's the problem that Republicans have in general. They keep acting like pussies and apologizing for everything when they don't need to apologize. And that's the problem that we have. Well, he returned after he got caught, but he still returned no matter what. And see, I don't care because Cruz to me is garbage, just like every other Republican. So it doesn't surprise me that he if he did this and he didn't care. then whatever, to me, there's nothing, yeah, he lied about that. He got caught, he lied, and, he's an idiot. He's an idiot, and he doesn't, and to me, it's dumb that he did that. It's dumb that he's apologizing for that. The whole situation, he put himself in a dumb situation. But to his credit, he apologized, and Cuomo, for example, hasn't apologized for killing 17,000 people. So, I mean, double standards, I guess. So, there's that. Oh, Cenk Uygur. Okay, let's conclude with this. Cenk Uygur, this colossal piece of shit, right? So he tweeted, only upside of Texas power outages, people like Joe Rogan who were so proud to leave California moved to Texas, freezing their asses off. They said they wanted less government. Congrats, mission accomplished. I hope you're not asking for government to come help you. Hashtag freedom. Well, listen, California is trash because of people like you, Cenk Uygur. Okay, here's his tweet. I'll post his tweet in chat. He posted this like when? Yesterday at 5:34 p.m. Well, I don't see any major problem with having your own grid if you just do the proper jobs to make sure that everything is connected properly within there, and you can get back up and running and things like this happen. That's all. You just have to have the infrastructure to maintain what you're doing. I think Texas overall has run its state very well, and I think overall Texas is a good state. It's a nice state. I enjoyed my time there, except I had allergy issues. The governor has called a special session of Congress to investigate what happened. Yeah, I heard about that too. So we'll see what comes out of it. I'm curious to see what the results are for that, and hopefully we can learn from this experience, and hopefully something like this won't happen again. You know. So with that, guys, I'm gonna conclude. It was great talking to you guys. We'll see you Monday. Everything should be fine for streaming on Monday. I don't think I have any issues. Remember, kids, as always, I'm gonna sign off with um, my usual salutations. So remember, kids, don't be complacent. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you Monday. Ta ta. Bye for now.